Hey guys, before we get into this video, I'd just like to let you know that I released a new single called Bless Ya, and here's a preview.
I'm a star, flex hard, supercharged no Tesla, make it hype, no pressure, Godson, I'm next up, she don't know about the team, say she wanna taste.
So yeah, if you liked what you heard, go to the first link in the description and go stream it, add it to your playlist, stick it in your family group chat, stick it in all your friends group chats, and enjoy.
Hey guys, it's Daniel or Dan J, and today I'm going to be talking about 5 beginner language learning mistakes that I wish I had at the start of my language learning journey. And of course, I'm coming to you as the language learning expert that I am, just to share with you some knowledge, some wisdom in helping you advance if you are learning a language or if you want to get started learning one. So number 1, mistake is not speaking at the start. So when you start learning a language, I think you got to start speaking as soon as possible. It gets you comfortable, it builds your confidence in the language, because let's say you start a course in Duolingo and you finish it, but you haven't really been speaking throughout. You might get to actually processing the words in your mind and letting them come out, and your accent may be off, or you might have gaps because you only really know how to understand things and not really speak them. And that can be pretty tough for the overall learning process and the overall fluency process. And of course, it's always good to be able to find gaps in your knowledge so that you can fill them and improve on them, and also be a little bit uncomfortable speaking, because that will boost you and it will enable you to get to the overall goal of learning a language, which is to be able to speak it. Not even through fluency maybe, but just be able to articulate yourself within that language space. So to get started talking, there are a few good techniques. So first of all, you can use apps like HelloTalk, Tandem, and also there are classes on italki, which you can get as well and just speak to people. There's like £10 an hour or something like that. There are more lessons as well. And there's also things like you can record yourself speaking about a specific topic or your day, and then watch it back, and where you didn't know words for something, you can then find that word, and that's good for researching as well and good for helping it stick. And also, if you want to go that extra mile, you can try to describe things you don't know the words for using other words. So let's say you wanted to say apple, but all you knew the words for were red round object, red round fruit even, to be more specific. You'd say it that way, and that just shows how many different ways you can kind of describe things in the language. So number 2 is not making the language specific enough for you. So when you learn a language, you're initially exposed to a whole load of topics, a whole range of things that you may actually never use, so would actually just be useless and just a waste of brain power and memory space. But being able to specify things for you, so let's say you work in a certain area and that sort of area is stuff that you talk about on a day-to-day basis. When you start reading things in your language or finding spaces where people speak in that language, let's say from other countries, and speak about the things that you're interested in, you'll be able to speak about them, you'll be confident in those areas, and you'll build your vocab in a way that actually helps you in life, as opposed to just being able to say, I don't like working as a lawyer because the judges are annoying, when in actual fact you work in like computer science or something like that. So you got to make it specific to yourself, but not too specific so that you end up just losing the rest of the language. Just in certain areas, like sort of careers, make it specific to you. And then number 3 is making flashcards on single words. So making flashcards on single words is something I did at the start a lot. I still have a lot of them throughout my Anki deck for Japanese. But yeah, essentially it's good in some contexts and some it's not. So it can be harder to learn things if they're just one single word on a piece of paper. So it can be harder to learn things if it's just one single word, because there's not really a time to apply it. So when you make a flashcard with a word in a sentence, let's say, you have a sort of framework for how you want to learn that word, and it'll be easier for you to put that into a sentence and use it in your learning or in speaking to people, because you know how to use it, you know where to use it, you even have specific examples. This is the sort of place where things like phrase books were good, because they'd literally have the phrase. You can't just pick, well, you could pick out specific points, but it was easier to just use that one phrase, and that one phrase would stick if you use it enough. So I'd say if you're making flashcards, making a flashcard with just one word on it is a good thing, but also make some example sentences which use that word as well, so that you know where to apply it. And then number 4 in language learning mistakes is only using Duolingo. So I love Duolingo, I'd recommend it to anyone, and I think they should sponsor me, but seeing as they're a free app, I can't really get sponsored. Maybe a Twitch partner. Duolingo, if you watch this video, I'd like a Twitch partnership. But Duolingo is made to be fun, free, accessible to everyone, and just easy to pick up. But most people, when they start learning languages, they'll do like 1 or 2 lessons on Duolingo a day, and essentially you'll probably never be able to speak in a language if you do that ever, because you're just not getting enough of the language, you're also not spending enough time, and then after that it can seem like Duolingo's not actually working. So someone like me, when I pick up Duolingo, I'll do something like 3 or 4 crowns worth of lessons a day, which can be something between 16 and 20 lessons a day in total. So I'd end up spending about 30 to 45 minutes on Duolingo, and that's good. It just keeps you going, keeps the things in your mind. But Duolingo isn't that great for things like spaced repetition. So when you get a crown to gold, it ends up saying that it's kind of like broken and you have to fix it, but the actual repetition of that is not really specific, and it's not really good for keeping stuff in your brain. So using other things to supplement your Duolingo is good as well. And other language learning apps such as Memrise are good for the spaced repetition and the active recall as well, on phrases and on words that you learn. Duolingo does have some great other features though, like their podcasts, the stories as well. And in languages like Japanese, they have a new section of the app which is literally just to learn hiragana and katakana, and yeah, it's awesome. And finally, linked to just using Duolingo, the 5th mistake is not having a plan. So with that, using Duolingo only and just like doing 1 or 2 lessons a day, that's not really a plan. There's no real action there to get into learning a language. You can't just learn a language using an app as well, unless that app has everything, and pretty much no app has everything. So you need to have a plan. You need to be able to plan out when you're going to work on your weak areas and when you're going to strengthen your strong areas. So there's of course the fundamentals of language, which is speaking, writing, listening, and reading. And if you just plan out when you're going to do each of those things, you can set time in your day. Depending on what things are going on within your week, you can plan out time and plan a certain number of hours that you need to do those things during the week as well. And that is really helpful for learning a language. I remember I was just banging Duolingo like last year before all this lockdown stuff, and it wasn't really working, and I kind of got bored and I kind of quit on things a few months before I started learning French. And then I just got into a nice rhythm and it all picked up, and now I'd say I can articulate myself in French, Spanish, and very close to being able to get around and actually not fluent, because fluent's not really the goal in language learning for me. I think the goal is to be able to just speak and be understood, and I think I'm getting there with Japanese as well. I'm very close and it's just all good. So yeah, let me know down in the comment section below if this video helped you. Let me know if you're learning any languages or you're going to start anything, and leave any comments down below of tips that you have as well if you're learning a language right now. And if you did enjoy this video, please do leave a thumbs up. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button down below. We're slowly growing this family out here and it's great. And I'll talk to you in the next video.